Leviticus chapter 2. I call this Heads of the Household Continue. Last week we got into the commands, the teachings, and instructions concerning the priesthood. And the priesthood can be likened unto the heads of household because they are the heads of the household of Elohim. Amen. So in that regard, we can look and see how Yah runs his household and use that as a model to run our households. Sounds good to me. We want to be like Yah. We want to let him set the example for us. Amen. So, chapter 22, we're going to continue on with that mindset. And we're just going to jump right in. It says in Yahuwah, verses 1 and 2, Leviticus 22, 1 and 2, and Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto Aaron and to his sons, that they separate themselves from the holy things of the children of Israel, and that they profane not Yahshua's holy name, or profane not my holy name in those things which they hallow unto me. I am Yahuwah. Now, first of all, let's point out there's an aleph tav in the sentence between profane not and my holy names, pointing that this holy name is actually speaking to the Messiah's holy name. So he's actually saying, speak unto Aaron and to the sons that they separate themselves from the holy things of the children of Israel, and that they profane not Yahshua's holy name in those things which they hallow unto me. Okay? Now it says that they are to separate themselves from the holy things of the children of Israel. So in other words, they are to separate themselves from the offerings, the Kodesh holy offerings of the children of Israel. If they are not in line to actually receive those things, if they're not holy themselves, then they're to separate themselves from those things which are holy. For the holy shouldn't be with the unholy, and holy things shouldn't be with holy things shouldn't be with unholy people. So in a manner of speaking, what Yah is saying is that because his priesthood is a reflection of him, they are to remain holy. They are to profane not his Kodesh name in those things which they hallow unto him. So to not bring shame to his name. Why? Because they're the heads of his household. They are those who reflect him. They're the ones who reflect his name. Even as the heads of our households reflect our family name. If the heads of the household, if they teach holiness and they walk in holiness, then people who look upon that family, they'll recognize them for holiness. For example, some of you may have had a family in the neighborhood that was like just went to church every day of the week, and they just became known for that. You look and you be like, oh yeah, that's that family there, they holy, they go to church every week. I mean, every day of the week, they always in church. Any of you ever known any families like that? And the news spread quick. Like, oh yeah, so and so they can't come out. They gotta go to church. They always in church. Well, this is kind of what Yah is setting up. He wants his people, especially the heads of his household, to have a reputation. And their reputation is to reflect his reputation. It's to reflect his name. He's very adamant that those whom he's made the head of his household don't profane his holy name, because they're a reflection of him. Even as we're called to be a reflection of him. Even as we're called, us that are heads of household are to reflect him as well, so that those who are up under us, those who are looking to us as an example, will learn how to reflect Yah as well. Verse 3 says, say unto them, whosoever he be of all your seed among your generations that goeth unto the holy things which the children of Israel hallow unto Yahuwah, having his uncleanness upon him, that soul shall be cut off. See, Yah doesn't want us going to his holy things. He don't want us interacting with the things that he's called holy if we're not holy. If we're unclean, then we're to leave it alone. If we know that we're Mr. Unclean, then we're to leave his holy things alone. Hence he says, whosoever he be of all your seed among your generations that go up unto the holy things which the children of Israel hallow unto Yahuwah, having his uncleanness upon him. You know, in other words, he don't want you to take his holy, clean stuff and go and defile it. A modern example of that would be, you know, say you're in a position such as myself. You're leading a fellowship, you know, and here it is, you know, you're actually well, not exactly such as myself, but say you're getting paid, you know, from the proceeds of the congregation. That's like a holy thing. You know, these are the offerings that's given unto Yah. You know, this is the holy thing. You know, just as these sacrifices were given unto Yah, and some of them included financial as well. You know, they are holy things. Now, for someone in that position to go to the juke joint, say for instance, you know, and be in the juke joint every other day, you know, living it up during the week in juke joint style, you know, that would be profaning Yah's great name. That would be taking things of the children of his people, which is holy, and misusing it, causing it to become defiled. You know, and he shall be cut off from amongst his people. Yahuwah does not take kindly to that, because it's bringing a bad light upon his name. You know, and us heads of households, whether we be male or female, you know, we have to take into consideration for that, because, you know, those are the household, they're looking to us for the example. And when we go out and set a bad example, you know, we have to be cognizant that those who are looking to us as the example may likely do the same thing. You know, so, you know, that's why one of my favorite sayings, you know, is if a man or woman is man or woman enough to do wrong, they should be man or woman enough to admit to it and make it right. You know, it's not that you won't make mistakes. Everyone's going to make mistakes, but what defines you is what you do after the mistake has been made. Verse 4 says, what man soever of the seed of Aaron is a leper, or have a running issue, he shall not eat of the holy things until he be clean. And whoso toucheth anything that is unclean by the dead, or a man whose seed goeth from him. So in other words, if you're unclean and you have a running issue, you know, such as this, you know, a boil, running, you know, you are unclean. You know, what Yah is in fact saying here is that, you know, you need to be clean and holy in dealing with the things of him. You know, if we go back and we look at verse 2. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, it's actually this verse. If we look, it says, and if Aaron is a leper or have a running issue, he shall not eat of the holy things until he's clean. In other words, he's speaking about things that are on the inside. Things that are on the inside manifesting itself on the outside. So maybe, you know, you got some dealings, you know, going on the inside. You know, maybe, as they say nowadays, you hating on someone. You know, or maybe there's someone that you haven't forgiven. Or maybe there's someone that you're angry with for whatever reason. You know, these things will make you unclean. And you're not to eat of the holy things while you're unclean. And anyone who's been angry or upset or frustrated or so on and so forth and had to deal with other people know that at times that tends to come out on other people. You know, and the same thing is here. You know, Yah is saying, if you got an issue on the inside, you know, wait until you clean that up before you come and start dealing with my holy things. Because you're setting an example for me, and I don't want you setting a bad example for me. And whoso toucheth anything that is unclean by the dead, or a man whose seed goeth from him. You know, now we're talking about things that externally make a person clean. You know, whether you're made clean from stuff that you're dealing with internally or things that make you unclean externally. You're not to eat of his holy things, you know, until you're made clean. I'm going to first read verses 5 through 7.
Or whosoever toucheth any creeping thing, whereby he may be made unclean, or a man of whom he may take uncleanness, whatsoever uncleanness he hath. The soul which hath touched any such like be unclean until evening, and shall not eat of the holy things, unless he wash his flesh with water. And when the sun is down, he shall be clean, and shall afterward eat of the holy things, because it is his food.
Okay, so whosoever toucheth any creeping thing, you know, so you look up and, you know, you got some creepy thing that, you know, that's around that causes you to become unclean, you know, and this just speaks to, you know, stuff happen in life, you know, just that you take into consideration that here it is, they were staying in tents, you know, and, you know, they didn't have floors like we have floors. They had dirt floors, you know. It could have been a creeping thing just about anywhere, right? You know, and I'm sure that even though they were staying in tents, they didn't want creepy things in there with them. So they may have, you know, shunned them out or had to throw them out. You know, that would make them unclean. You know, sometimes things happen in our lives, you know, that's unexpected and make us unclean. You know, this could speak to something to that effect. And it says, the soul which hath touched any such shall be unclean until even, and shall not eat of the holy things, unless he wash his flesh with water. You know, sometimes you get caught in a situation and it causes you to become unclean, but even as the water represents his word, you know, we're to wash our flesh with the water of the word. And when the sun go down, you should be clean. And then you can go back to living that holy life. Our next read of verses 8 and 9.
That which dieth of itself or is torn with beasts, he shall not eat to defile himself therewith. I am Yahuwah. They shall therefore keep mine ordinance, lest they bear sin for it, and die therefore if they profane it. I, Yahuwah, do sanctify them.
Okay, we have another Aleph Tav here, you know, right between keep and mind. And for those who may not be familiar with the Aleph Tav represents our Messiah, Yeshua. You know, he gave an awesome revelation when he walked the earth. He told men that he was the Alpha and Omega. In the Hebrew, that would be the Aleph and the Tav. You know, and many people, you know, it does, you know, equate it with the beginning and the ending in which it is. You know, but something else that encumbers the Aleph Tav is, scripturally speaking, from the beginning to the ending of Scripture, of Torah, you will find the Aleph Tav. It occurs almost 8,000 times. But it's oftentimes go untranslated. Like here. The one here is actually untranslated, but it's there in the text, but you'll never see it in the English. You know, they didn't know what to do with it. They said it points to the direct object, but in all actuality, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. You know, and as a result of them not knowing what to do with it, many times they just didn't do anything with it. But now that the Messiah gave us this awesome revelation that he is the Aleph and the Tav, now we know what to do with it. Now we know it points to him and his. So here we can see, and they shall therefore keep Yahshua's ordinance, lest they bear sin for it, and die therefore if they profane it. Yahuwah do sanctify them. How does he sanctify them? You know, he sanctifies them with his word, with his teachings and instructions. Even as Yochanan 17:17 says, thy word is truth. His word is also what he uses to sanctify them. This word ordinance is mishmerah, number 4931, and it means to watch or guard. So in other words, they're saying, therefore, keep Yahshua's guard. You know, we're to guard ourselves to make sure that we don't become defiled, especially, you know, in that this is speaking to the priest, i.e. the head of household of Yah's household. It can also equate to us, you know, in being the heads of our household. You know, we can learn a lesson from the example that Yah is putting forth. We're to watch and stay on guard to keep ourselves undefiled, so that those of the household aren't open to attack from us becoming defiled. You know, because Yah does not take it lightly when we bring shame to his name. You know, we see here it says that he shall not eat anything that dieth of itself. So, you know, Bambi's brother here, you know, he wouldn't be clean for anyone to eat, because he just died in and of himself. You know, or anything that was torn to beasts. You know, some people may walk by and say, oh, free food. You know, but Yah didn't want his people to be that sort. He wanted his people to acknowledge him in all that they done. We have our next reader read verses 10 through 13.
There should be no stranger eat of the holy thing. A sojourner of the priest or hired servant shall not eat of the holy thing. But if the priest buy any soul with his money, he shall eat of it. And he that is born in his house, they shall eat of his meat. If the priest's daughter also be married unto a stranger, she may not eat of an offering of holy things. But if the priest's daughter be a widow or divorced, and have no child, and is returned unto her father's house as in her youth, she shall eat of her father's meat. But there shall be no stranger eat thereof.
Okay. So here it is. Yah's instructing the priest that no stranger is to eat of his holy things. A sojourner of the priest, you know, which could speak to a guest of the priest or an hired servant, shall not eat of the holy thing. Why? Because they are not Yah's. They're not committed to Yah. They're not there to serve Yah per se. You know, the sojourner, he's just there, as the word implies, he's sojourning. You know, he's not there permanently. And the hired servant, he's just there for the money. You know, they're not committed to Yah, so they're not to eat of the holy thing. But it says, if the priest buy any soul with his money, he shall eat of it. And he that is born in his house, they shall eat of his meat. Well, why do they get to eat of it? Because they are committed to Yah. They are covenanted with Yah, because Torah teaches that whenever you brought any one with your money, they became yours, and as a result, you were to have them circumcised. If they were a male, they were to be circumcised. They were to be committed to Yah. And if someone was born in your household, they were to be covenanted or circumcised and covenanted unto Yah on the 8th day. Amen. So here it is. They are connected to Yah, and because you rule over them, you make sure that they stay within the teachings and instructions of Yah, that they continue to do His teachings and instructions. But it says, if the priest's daughter also be married unto a stranger, she may not eat of an offering. Why? Because you're not her head anymore. Her husband is her head, and he's a stranger, so he's not committed unto Yah. So, in a very real sense, she's not committed unto Yah because she's submitted to her husband, and the two shall become one. So, she can't eat of the holy things. But if the priest's daughter be a widow or divorced and have no child, and is returned unto her father's house as in her youth, she shall eat of her father's meat. Why? Because now she's back under the authority of her father, back under his covenant. But no stranger shall eat thereof. Yah is, what is he getting at through all this? No stranger can eat of his holy thing. You have to be clean. You can't be defiled. What is he saying in all this? The essential thing that Yah's put on my heart that he's saying in this is that he want to be special in his people's lives. We look at this and we say all these rituals and and things they had to go through. Why? Because Yah wants to be special in our lives. He wants to be held in high esteem. He wants to be a part of your everyday life. So many today, they get baptized or they enter into covenant with Yah, and then they come to church once a week or what have you, and that's pretty much the extent of their relationship with Yah. See, but if you notice, these things dealt with everyday things. They had to eat every day, right? So they were always had to be cognizant of whether or not am I clean, before I partake of this holy food. Yah played an active role in their lives every day. Yeah. And he wants to play an active role in our lives every day. He doesn't just want to be, something that's thought of once a week. He wants to be an intricate part of our everyday walk. He wants to be an intricate part of our lives. He don't want to just be sat on the shelf. That's what all these rituals are for, so that we'll ever remember our El. So he'll always be before us, and the things that we're doing will remind us of him and remind us of the awesome things that he's done for us, as well as how awesome an El that he is and how he needs to be reverenced and respected in the things that we do. So no, he doesn't want a stranger partaking of his holy things. Why? Because they don't have the same reverence for him of those that have covenanted ourselves with him. Those that call him our El, they're not going to feel the same way about him as we do. They're not going to treat his ordinances, his statutes, his judgments the same as we, because they're not serving him. They don't live to serve him. But us, on the other hand, we are to live to serve him. And for those of us who have chosen to live to serve him, he wants to be an intricate part of our lives. He doesn't want us to be strangers unto him in his ways. He wants us to partake of his holy things. Amen? He don't want us to be estranged from him. And that's why he set these things up. And even with the everyday people, they had offerings for sins and offerings for trespasses and offerings for peace and, you know, so on and so forth, you know, they were always offering something. Because Yah wants to be a part of your everyday life. He doesn't just want to be, you know, your once a week El. Verse 14 says, and if a man eat of the holy thing unwittingly, then he shall put the fifth part thereof into it, and shall give it unto the priest with the holy thing. And there's an aleph tav in here, actually translated as with in this verse. So speaking of, and shall give it unto the priest, Yahshua's holy thing. Give unto the priest Yahshua's holy thing. So if a man eat unwittingly, you know, he makes a mistake, and you know, he eat the holy thing, and you know, he's like, oops, you know, did I do that? He's to pay for it and add a fifth unto it. You know, there's a penalty to be paid. You know, and that's a real important concept for folks to grasp. Even though you do something unwittingly, even though you do it unintentionally, doesn't mean that there isn't a consequence behind it with Yah. And so many people think, you know, well, yeah, Yah knows my heart, you know, and you know, I don't have to go through all that. Yah knows my heart, you know. Maybe He does know your heart, you know, but He also knows His word, and He know what He's mandated, you know. And whether you wittingly or unwittingly do something, there's a consequence. In this case, it was just you had to pay for the food. You obviously couldn't give it back, you know, and you had to add a fifth unto it. You know, but this principle is throughout His word. If you mess up unwittingly, you still have to pay a consequence at some point, in most cases. We have my next read verses 15 to 16.
And they shall not profane the holy things of the children of Israel, which they offer unto Yahweh, or suffer them to bear the iniquity of trespass when they eat their holy things. For I, Yahuwah, do sanctify them.
Okay, we have some aleph tavs up in here. Verse 15, and they shall not profane Yahshua's holy things of the children of Israel, of Yahshua, which they offer unto Yahuwah. And in verse 16, we also have aleph tav after eat, the word eat, or shall suffer them to bear the iniquity of trespass when they eat Yahshua's holy things. For I, Yahuwah, do sanctify them. This is a picture of the showbread that the priests were to eat daily. You know, and they weren't to profane these holy things. You know, or there was a price to pay. Yah, he sanctifies his priests, and his priests work to sanctify themselves so that they might be in good standing with Yah. And they're the heads of the household of Yah's household. They're setting the example for everyone else to follow. So all the rest of Israel is looking to them for that example, even as those who of our household, if we're the heads of household, they look to us for an example. You know, just like kids oftentimes do what parents do, and just not necessarily what they say. You know, the example that you set makes a big difference. And those of us who are believers, and as we go out in society and we're working on our jobs or we're working in the world in any capacity, we have to also consider that we're representatives of Yah. And we want to set the example of what Yah looks like even when we're in the world. We have our next reader read verses 17 through 20.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto Aaron and to his sons and to all the children of Israel, and say unto them, Whatsoever he be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers in Israel, that will offer his oblation for all his vows and for all his freewill offerings, which they will offer unto Yahuwah for a burnt offering, ye shall offer at your own will a male without blemish, of the beeves, of the sheep, or of the goats. But whatsoever hath a blemish, that shall ye not offer, for it shall not be acceptable for you.
Okay, so if you're going to give something to Yah, Yah wants your best. He says in 19, you shall not offer at your own will a male without blemish. You know, if you have one of these on you know, running around the ranch, you know, you want to give an offering to Yah, this isn't the one to choose. You know, if you owe Yah an offering, whether it be a sacrifice or something for a vow, then you're to give him a perfect offering. You know, whenever you're trying to pay for a vow or a sacrifice unto Yah, you seeking to draw near, you don't want to give him something that's blemished. You know, hence he says in 18, Speak unto Aaron and his sons and unto all the children of Israel, and say unto them, Whosoever he be of the house of Israel or of the strangers of Israel that will offer his oblation for all his vows and for all his free will offerings, which they will offer unto Yahuwah a burnt offering, ye shall offer at your own will a male without blemish, of the beeves, of the sheep, or of the goats. But whosoever have a blemish, that shall ye not offer, for it shall not be acceptable unto you. So, any of the house of Israel, they could not offer anything that was blemished. Sorry, Sammy. You don't get to be a sacrifice. The next reader, verses 21 through 23.
And whosoever offereth a sacrifice of peace, offering unto Yahuwah to accomplish his vow, or a freewill offering in beeves of sheep, it shall be perfect to be accepted. There shall be no blemish therein, blind or broken or maimed, or having a wind or scurvy or scalped. Ye shall not offer these unto Yahuwah, nor make any offering by fire of them upon the altar of Yahuwah. Either a bull, or a lamb that has anything superfluous or lacking in his life, in his parts, that mayeth thou offer for a free will offering, but for a vow it shall not be accepted.
Okay. Now he says, and whosoever offer a sacrifice, let me back up for 1 second. And whosoever offer a sacrifice of peace offerings unto Yahuwah to accomplish his vow, or a free will offering in beeves or sheep, it shall be perfect to be accepted, and there shall be no blemish therein, blind or broken or maimed or having wind or scurvy or scab. Ye shall not offer these unto Yahuwah, or make an offering by fire of them upon the altar unto Yahuwah. Then he says in verse 23, either a bullock or a lamb that have anything superfluous or lacking in his parts, that mayest thou offer for a free will offering, but for a vow it should not be accepted. So in other words, if it's for a free will offering, he says he'll accept it, but not for a vow. Because the vow is something that you owe, and a free will offering is just generosity of your heart. You know, now, betwixt here, we have an Aleph Tav with a vow. And the Aleph Tav represents Yahshua, and the vow, which is the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, represents man as well as his works. You know, it speaks to adjoining things or attaching things to something, even as a peg or a nail. So it's speaking that thou mayest offer the man that's attached himself to Yahshua for a free will offering, but for a vow it shall not be accepted. You know, so it seems to be pointing out, you know, that because a man may have something superfluous or lacking in his parts, that's not to say that he can't be a servant of Yah. You know, he can. He will be accepted. You know, even if he so happened to be like this young fellow. You know, Yah. He may not be able to be a priest, but he can still serve Yah. Amen. Verse 24 and 25. Our next reader, please.
You shall not offer unto Yahuwah that which is bruised, or crushed, or broken, or cut, neither shall you make any offering thereof in your land. Neither from a stranger's hand shall ye offer the bread of your ale of any of these, because their corruption is in them, and blemishes be in them. They shall not be accepted for you.
Okay, in verse 25, we have another aleph tav, translated as the. Neither from a stranger's hand shall ye offer Yahshua's bread of your Elohim of any of these, because their corruption is in them, and blemishes be in them. They shall not be accepted for you. We already spoke about the stranger, about how they're not committed to Yah, even as we are committed to Yah, and we walk in his teachings and instructions. So if they want to offer him something, they can't offer him anything corrupt. We don't want them to get the wrong idea about our L, right? You know, so if sheep done broke a leg, you know, can't be offered unto Yah. Not by the stranger. The stranger's hand can't be accepted. Verses 26 and 27 says, and Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, when a bullock or a sheep or a goat is brought forth, then it shall be 7 days under the dam, and from the 8th day, and thenceforth it shall be accepted for an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. Now this word dam is actually M number 517, and it means mother. So in other words, well, I don't think this is quite what Yah had in mind. You know, it says, when a bullock or a sheep or a goat is brought forth, then it shall be 7 days under the dam, you know, under the mother. Not, you know, sheep is still under the dam, but not quite what Yah had in mind. I think he had more of this in mind. You know, here it is, we have a lamb that's under the dam or under his mother, you know, still being weaned. You know, Spot here, he's doing a great job, but not exactly what Yah had in mind. Yes. So after seven days, you know, when a bullock or a sheep or a goat is brought forth, it has to be at least 8 days old. And from the 8th day, thenceforth, it shall be accepted for an offering made by fire. And I think that has spiritual significance, in that number 8 typifies new birth or new beginnings. You know, Yah doesn't want us in our original state of being, you know, i.e. the flesh. He wants the spirit being that's Father from above, that's born again. That's the one he wants. You know, the one that has the new and improved one. He don't want the old one. You know, that's the one he wants to draw near to him. He wants the one that's Father from above. Hence the word teaches us that except ye be Father from above, i.e. born again, you shall by no means enter into the kingdom of Elohim. Our next reader, verses 28 through 33.
And whether it be a cow or ewe, ye shall not kill it, and her young both in one day. And when ye will offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving unto Yahuwah, offer it at your own will. On the same day it shall be eaten up. Ye shall leave none of it until the morrow. I am Yahuwah. Therefore shall you keep my commandments and do them. I am Yahuwah. Neither shall ye profane my holy name, but I will be hallowed among the children of Israel. I am Yahuwah, which halloweth you. That brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your Elohim. I am Yahuwah.
Okay. Whether it be Kyle or you, Yah says in verse 28, then there's an Aleph Tav with the Vav. You know, whether there be a Kyle or a you, and then they have something that's pointing to Yahshua. So it's letting us know that it's speaking of a man that's following Yahshua. It says, ye shall not kill it. And then this word and that comes after it is actually translated from the Aleph and Tav with the Vav. But the Vav is before the Aleph and the Tav, because now it's speaking about something outside of the will of Elohim. So something that's against Yahshua. Ye shall not kill it and her young both in the same day. So in other words, you shouldn't kill the one that's following Yahshua and the one that's against Yahshua both in the same day. Why? Because the onlookers may get mixed up. They may not know if one is killed for righteousness' sake and the other one is killed for wickedness' sake, won't be able to tell which is which. But if you kill them separately, then you can point out, hey, you know, this one is for wickedness' sake and this one is for righteousness' sake. You know, hence, when Messiah comes back, you know, he's going to allow his saints to be worn out. And then he's going to come and he's going to pour out his wrath upon the wicked. You know, but it's not going to be a simultaneous thing. You know, we have another Aleph Tav with the Mem in verse 31. It says, therefore you should keep my commandments and do them. The word them is actually translated from the Aleph Tav. The Aleph Tav with the Mem, which speaks to Yahshua's people, his nation. You know, so the nation that's following Yahshua. Therefore you should keep my commandments and do them, even as the nation that follows Yahshua. I am Yahuwah. You know, this is what we're called to do. We're called to be that nation that follow Yahshua. We're called to set the example. Verse 32 says, neither shall ye profane my holy name. Betwixt profane and mine is another Aleph Tav that's not translated. You know, neither shall ye profane Yahshua's holy name. But I will be hallowed among the children of Israel. I am Yahuwah, which hallow you. That brought you out of the land of Egypt. This word you in verse 33 is also translated from an Aleph Tav. And it's the Aleph Tav with the Kav and the Mem. The Kav is a picture of the open hand. And it actually speaks of, you know, something that's like filtered out. And again, the Mem speaks to a nation or his people. So you have a picture of those people who Yah has filtered out of the world to be his nation. And he says he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim to be their Elohim, to be their judge, to be their El, what we call their God nowadays. He is Yahuwah. You know, again, you know, I want us to reflect on the fact that we serve Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel. You know, and he's very particular about his holy name. He wants to be hallowed among his children. And when we do this, we show the world what Yahuwah looks like. Even as the Messiah showed the world what Yahuwah looked like. Hence he would tell his apostle, you ask to see the Father, but when you see me, you've seen the Father. You know, we're supposed to be able to say something likewise. You ask to see the Son, but when you see me, you've seen the Son. Amen? Aren't we called to be the sons of Elohim? You know, the Messiah came to give his teachings and instructions and show the way to everlasting life, that we might set the example and show the other peoples of the world, so that they might be able to follow us as we follow Yahshua. See, but if the person in front of you, you know, has strayed, and they're your example, then, you know, you're going to likely stray as well. See, this is why it's important and why he goes through all these tedious details concerning his offerings and concerning the way his priests are to act in everyday social life. You know, because he's supposed to be at the center focus of their lives, even as he's supposed to be the center focus of our lives. You know, we're supposed to be going around knowing that we serve Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel, and that his name is upon us. And whether we're heads of household or we're of the household, we're always supposed to be setting the example and not bringing shame to his name. Not profaning his holy name, but keeping it set apart, keeping it special. You know, Yah, he done went through great lengths to establish his name in the earth. And he wants us to go through great lengths to keep it holy, to keep it exalted, to keep it magnified, to keep it special. You know, he wants us to go through these things and to show the world how special he is. And when it's all said and done, he'll show the world how special we are to him. You know, but if we don't do our end, then we can't expect him to carry through with his end. You know, it's a covenant. It's a give and take thing. It's not just give from Elohim and we just take from him and not give anything back. You know, that's not exactly how this thing works. That's oftentimes how it's purported, but that's not how it works. Not scripturally speaking. You know, you have a lot of folks saying a lot of things. But at the end of the day, what does the word say? What does the word teach? I serve Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel. You know, therefore, I try to put forth the example of him to the world that's at hand, that's around me, so that they might get a glimpse of how awesome Yah is. You know, and when they see you revere him, then they'll begin to respect you for revering. Even if they don't respect him in their own right, they'll respect you for respecting him. And this is what is to be perpetuated to the world. You know, when they see us, you know, they supposed to know who we are. See, and nowadays, it's sad to say, when we walk into the room, they don't know that we've walked into the room.
Yeah.
When they see us, they don't know who we are. You say, I'm a Christian, everybody in the room say, I am too. Everybody look the same. You put believers in the room with non-believers, you can't tell them apart. It's not supposed to be like that. That's what all this is for. This is why y'all had them going through all this, so that it wouldn't be like that. Back in the day, back in the time when this was written, if you seen one of them at the market or in the open square, you would know. See, they knew who the Israelites were. As soon as they seen them, oh, that's one of them Israelites right there, you know. Or, oh, that's an Egyptian. Or that's a Canaanite. They knew who was who. See, but now today, don't nobody know who's who. They can't tell the believer from the non-believer. They can't tell the saint from the sinner. Yah went through all this that we might be Kodesh unto him. That his name may mean something, may stand for something in the world. You know, well, it's up to us to set the precedents. It's up to us to restore his great name. It begins with us. So I'm proud to say I serve Yahuwah Elohim of Israel.
Yeah.
And when I go forth, I try to always have something, you know, that acknowledges that fact in some way, whether it's my speech, whether it's the way I carry myself, right? Whether it's the way I act or react. You know, we always to keep Yah at the forefront of our heart and minds, and think about, you know, are we profaning his name, or are we bringing glory to his name? Well, that's all I have for you today. I pray it was a blessing unto you.